Our first guest tonight is an Emmy and Oscar-nominated actress, writer, and comedian you know from Bridesmaids and Saturday Night Live, which she returns to host this weekend with musical guest Ray. She also stars in Palm Royale, which is streaming now on Apple TV+. She's also one of the co-founders of the Crutches Museum. Please welcome back to the show our friend Kristen Wiig, everybody. Nice to have you back in the building.
I love being back in the building.
And it's so nice to be here at the same time with you and Fred. It's like bringing me back.
Bringing us back together before our big venture.
Yeah. You seem maybe less excited about the Crutches Museum.
I'm excited about it.
Okay.
It was kind of my idea.
Oh, it was?
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah.
And Fred is Fred yes ands ideas. If you have an idea for a Crutches Museum, he's the right guy to talk to.
Because there's so many different kinds of crutches. I don't think people know like the different types.
Yeah.
And like different regions and like, so it's...
So it's interesting. I asked Fred to name an interesting type of crutch, and instead he just told me a story about how somebody got hurt.
Oh.
And needed crutches.
Right.
And I'm wondering, maybe not to put you on the spot, but what is an interesting kind of crutch we don't know about?
I think people underestimate the padding that goes under your arm.
Sure.
Because that's really the crutch.
Yeah. I'm assuming, Fred, that piece has a name.
The under? Yeah, it's the underarm crutch crescent, we call it. So,
Really good. Really
He's
exciting.
right.
That's really cool.
We're gonna sell out.
sell out.
This is very exciting. This is your fifth time hosting SNL.
Yes,
That's really...
Yes,
and
thank you. Thanks.
Being on the show gets a little easier, but only a little. I mean, over the course of the years you're there.
Yes.
It never gets easy.
No.
Do you find hosting's gotten a little bit easier?
No.
Yeah. I think that's good.
I mean, I think because the essence of the show is that you don't know what it is ever, even until 11:30. You don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that never goes away.
So you,
but it's easier than when I first...
It's easier, but I mean, I've always said, you know, when I was at the show, the hosts that weren't nervous were the ones that were about to lay a real turd.
Yeah. I always just say, I feel like that's just the energy of the show. Like, you're supposed to be nervous,
yes.
I think, yeah.
And so you were not, even leading into this week, I'm assuming you were not sleeping well?
No.
Yeah.
No. I was up till just writing things in my head. Just, you know, your brain goes.
I do think it's very exciting anytime someone hosts the show who is also good at writing for the show, which you were also a terrific writer in your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And you've not only hosted, but you've also come back when some of our loved ones have hosted.
Yes.
You did an ABBA sketch recently.
Yes.
When Kate was there, you and Maya came back. And
I love the picture of me laughing.
Yeah.
Being so unprofessional.
This is, and by the way, you did not pull it together by the next shot.
Look what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Could you be able to keep it together? I mean,
Did you have someone in our time of the show who made you more susceptible to breaking than others?
I mean, Fred made me laugh
Yeah.
quite a bit. And I feel like Forte probably, because you just never knew when the explosion was going to happen. Yes. Yeah.
You and Forte are in one of my favorite movie scenes of all time, which is the love scene in MacGruber.
Yes.
Which is...
The love scene.
The love scene in MacGruber. And
I don't know who
remember
expresses love
I was in Albuquerque, New Mexico that day,
yeah.
and it was maybe 1,000 degrees?
It was so hot. And it was my birthday. I don't know if you know that.
I don't know if
it was my birthday.
Yeah.
And it's kind of gross, but the amount of sweat that can pool in someone's chest above you and then just release on you. We were just soaking wet.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so hot. We couldn't have the air conditioning on because of sound.
Yeah.
We were in Albuquerque. It was August, I think.
It was
my birthday. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was August. It was really...
It's funny because when I see the scene, I feel like
It looks beautiful.
Oh, no. But it was that thing of like, there was like, There was a glistening that I bet
Oh.
on a regular sort of movie.
that's all
they have to work
makeup.
really hard for, right?
This is just us
But people are
being-
like, how'd they do that? I'm like, it was hot as balls.
So hot. And we were like upstairs. There was like everything that could make something hot. It was hot.
Do you feel like you were the kind of person who, while you were breaking, you would try to fight through it and that would just make it worse?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, because as soon as you start, the person you're looking at knows you're breaking, then they start to break, and then you start laughing, and it's very difficult. I try not to do it.
You're very good at not
Yes,
doing it, which
yeah.
I think makes it more rewarding when you do. I've always said, like, when people say, do you miss SNL? I always say, like, I very much miss being the age I was at SNL. Because
yeah.
it is a very taxing week. And you are now doing it with, the twins are 4 years old now.
Yes. Yes.
And do you feel like you still have the energy for it?
I mean, yes, because when you get into host mode, you're nervous and running around. But yeah, I need my sleep. I can't.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we sound so old. Like, we were young when we were
I
there.
know, it's crazy.
But we were, and we would stay up till 5, 6 in the morning working on stuff, and it was like no big deal.
I also sometimes, because I mean, we both still write, and sometimes in my head, I will think I still have those muscles.
Oh, yeah, no.
And I'll be like, you know what? I know that thing's due tomorrow. I'm just going to pull an all-nighter. And literally at 10:30, I'm like, or I'm going to go to bed and tell him it's not coming. Tell him I didn't do it, and I'm going to give him the money back.
I'm older. I'm older.
We did talk about, I'm lucky enough to know your beautiful children. And last time you were here, which was a while ago, we talked, they were little babies and you would put wigs on them.
Yeah.
Have they outgrown, or have you outgrown putting wigs on them?
No,
Yeah.
no, it's the best.
Do they love their wig time with you?
We have a basket of wigs in their playroom, so I'll just be sitting at the table, and it's like they'll just come in just wearing a wig, just like playing with something. And to me, that's the funniest thing ever, but they're just like wearing a wig.
Yeah.
They just walk around. It's like, you are my children.
But that's your dream.
That's
I
my
would say, like,
dream.
if you said pick out Kristen Wiig's children, I'd be like, those two
The
that
two
are...
in the wig.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also, like, to be in wigs and not be playing it, like, as a joke. That's really a Kristen Wiig character.
And they're adult wigs. So they're like too big, and yes, there's way
They're
too
all
much hair.
very low bags. I want to talk to you about Palm Royale. We'll be back with more Kristen after this.
We don't own the house yet.
We don't have to. Besides, someone's got to keep an eye on it, protect the family interest.
I don't like the idea of thinking about you alone in the house with some strange man.
Is my Douglas jealous?
Your Dougie is worried.
I can hear you gnawing on your paws. Stop, you're not gonna have any fingers left. Besides, he's not so strange. He is a veteran, and it's so much nicer than the motel. Peg in room 103 was essentially an axe murderer. She was very open about that. This guy just walks around with his shirt off all the time. He's fine.
Welcome back. We're here with Kristen Wiig. That was a clip from her fantastic new show, Palm Royale. The show is very funny. This show looks beautiful.
Yes. I mean, I have nothing to do with that. But
It's really gorgeous
it's
and really funny.
beautiful. Thank you.
You play a former pageant queen who is trying to sort of weasel her way into high society in Palm Beach.
Yeah.
Based on a book.
Yes.
And there's an incredible cast, but I want to just direct everyone to the great Carol Burnett is
Oh my
in.
gosh.
And it's just so wonderful. In the same way
Yes.
that is so thrilling anytime I see you on screen with Maya or with Kate, I have the same feelings when I see you with Carol Burnett, even and including the fact that the first 3 episodes she's in a coma. And so you're doing a lot of coma work.
I am. Which
she's
is,
doing
which
the
is
coma
hard,
work.
you
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
It's hard.
But you know, that is I mean, I've read her say that it was very hard for her to keep a straight face, and you know, they say you can really not break when you're playing a coma patient.
Yeah. You can't.
It takes people
unless
right out of
you're
it.
having like a funny dream or
That's
something.
true.
No, she's everything and more. I mean, she inspired me so much, and yeah, she's a light. I cannot say enough about her.
It's so funny, those moments. I was talking recently with Andy Samberg about how stressful it was when you'd be at SNL and like somebody like Steve Martin would come through, or you know, when it's actual comedy heroes and you get to do a scene with them. Do you get, because again, it's so funny, and you knew as a producer, you knew the material was good, but do you still get a little bit nervous the first day Carol Burnett like shows up on set?
Oh, yeah. I was like, did she like that? Did you think that was funny? I mean, because it's like, you know, it's like I said, it's Carol Burnett, and yeah, I mean, she's so generous and makes you feel super comfortable, and she's the best.
It did, the look, the feel, the location did remind me of one of my favorite movies of the last 5 years, Barb, and the star Go to Vista Del Mar. I like that you, what is it that,
I don't know.
that draws you to characters that are sort of like in these beautiful places and maybe don't quite fit in?
Oh, I thought you were going to say they both take place in Florida, because that was a mistake. I don't know. There's just something about playing someone that thinks they should be somewhere they're not supposed to be. That's fun, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's really, it is
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Did you when you were doing table reads for this,
Yes.
and you have the great Carol Burnett,
Yeah.
and you're doing a table read, so you have her come in.
Well, she didn't really have to come because she's
Yeah.
lying there.
Yeah.
But she came.
She's
and
such a pro. She
came to the table read. She moaned and groaned. And I mean, I was like, I mean, she showed up. It was just like, yeah.
That's fantastic.
That's Carol.
We're all very lucky that she showed up. We're all very lucky that you're showing up to SNL this week. I really
so
can't wait.
excited.
It gets me so excited that you're coming back.
Thank you.
You guys, that's
happy.
Kristen Wiig, everybody.
Thanks.
Hosting SNL live on NBC and Peacock this Saturday with musical guest Ray Palm Royale, streaming at Apple TV+. We'll be right back with Mike Birbiglia. Our next guest is a very talented comedian, actor, and director you know from the film Trainwreck and his Broadway shows The New One and The Old Man in the Pool. He's the subject of the documentary special Good One, a show about jokes, which is streaming on Peacock. Let's take a look.
When I was a kid, I feel like everything in my life was me trying to express, like, writing poetry, writing essays, writing jokes, drawing, painting, writing plays. And just like in every direction, people just being like, yeah, I don't think that's for you. And they didn't mean any harm by it. They just thought I was this kid who like trips a lot.
Please welcome back to the show our good friend Mike Birbiglia. Welcome back.
Well, it's so funny you were talking. It's about the Crutches Museum, because I'm a frequent visitor to the Crutches Museum.
You go.
My favorite thing about it, and I feel like you have a sort of an incredulity about the Crutches Museum's
do.
existence at all.
Yeah.
You gotta go.
Okay.
You gotta see it to believe it, right, Fred?
Yes, you have to see it to believe it.
You gotta see it to believe it, which is the slogan of the Crutches Museum.
Yeah.
And what they do is they do there's an area where you can do a demo, and they fit you for crutches.
Okay. They fit you for the crescent?
Yeah, they fit you. They make sure. They
Well,
make
see,
sure.
that
they,
looks like you're doing wheelchair.
no. I'm. No.
You don't do this both at the same time. Okay, that's a walker. That's a walker.
I've been to all three museums.
Oh,
I've been to all three museums, and I sometimes mistake the one
gotcha.
for the other.
So, all right, go ahead. You're
Well,
going to tell me something.
Well, I want to say I had you. First of all, we did the Good One show
Yes.
together, the documentary, which such an honor to be.
It was wonderful.
to
It
work
was
on
an
that with
honor to
you.
have you as a subject,
And then I was lucky enough to have you on my podcast working it out recently.
which is a wonderful podcast, Working It Out. You talk to comedians about material they're working on. It's a very novel idea. I enjoy a great deal.
And then I was just talking to Fred backstage.
Yeah.
About I enjoyed having you on because I could grill you and ask you questions, because usually it's just you asking me.
Right.
And I just noticed some quirks about you. I don't do impressions, but I was asking Fred what his impression is of you,
me.
because here's mine of you is simple. It's just buddy. I gotta go, and then
Interesting.
and then you're gone. That's the whole impression.
Okay.
So it's pretty much just a very friendly buddy, gone.
Okay.
Puff of smoke. And then, Fred, what's your impression of Seth? You've worked with him for so long.
Yeah, mine is of Seth when he's telling a story and that he was mad at that person. So he's kind of like, no, because I heard you the first time.
Because I heard you the first time.
I mean, it's like looking in a mirror. I want to say, because I did enjoy talking to you on your podcast, and you said something very complimentary about me, which does kind of tie into how I leave. One of the reasons I just disappear in a puff of smoke, you said this about me. I have an incredibly good sense of time.
You're absurdly punctual.
Yeah.
To the point where it'll be like, over the years, like we've had lunch a handful of times, and it'll be noon, we'll have lunch, and on the minute of 60 minutes, you'll be like, and then you're gone.
Yeah.
And it's like a puff of smoke. You're like a superhero with no skills.
You know what? I'm glad you said punctual, because sometimes I feel like punctual, everybody is over. They're putting too much in the in point. There's also an out point for punctuality. Like, you don't have to worry you're gonna be like, oh, I'm sorry, I was late for the next thing because of Seth. No, hour, boom, we're done.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I appreciate the
Thank you, I
punctuality.
can tell you do because of the way you're saying it. You know, I like it. You know what? Something? You know what?
You know what? Okay, so this is all love.
Sure.
It's all love. No, but it was so fun to have you on the podcast. But then, literally on the podcast, we talked about how at the hour mark and a puff of smoke, you're gone, and then at the end of the interview, it was like 75 minutes, and you were completely gone.
Yeah.
And then the other day, we were on the Today Show.
We did the Today Show together.
As the comedy duo that nobody asked for, and it was Hoda and Jenna, who are hilarious, and we did this game with Alison Brie. She was also involved. And the gist of it was everyone comes up with an embarrassing factoid about themselves. And then Hoda and Jenna guess who it is.
Right.
Mine was I created a rap song about not using drugs for the DARE program in 6th grade.
Yeah, very embarrassing.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
And then Allison's was she had she got her tongue pierced for like 8 hours and then reversed it. Or whatever.
Yeah.
Here's what Seth's.
Okay, hold on.
Seth's was that he was in Paris.
I know. I was hiking the Alps.
He was in the Alps, and he was
Paris in the summer.
He was mistaken for Bradley Cooper. It's not embarrassing at all. It's the opposite of the assignment. It's like me being like, oh, I got mistaken for Schwarzenegger in Milan. You know what I mean? Like, first of all, it doesn't happen. Second of all, it's just not self-deprecating.
It's a little embarrassing for Bradley Cooper. Can I say, though, what happened? And this is what happened. The Today Show, you go do the Today Show, and they say, hey, can you come up with 6 things that are embarrassing? And I'm like, what? And then they said, we found some stories you've told in other places.
Right.
And I promise that when I first told the Bradley Cooper story, it was self-deprecating, but I should have caught it and said, this is bad for the game. But also, Bud, it happened.
Buddy. I gotta go. It's always
you.
Oh,
yeah. That's what I said to the French people. This is a wonderful documentary special, and it's about your process as a writer. And one of the things you had to agree to do, and it's very interesting, and I highly recommend everybody watch it, is you had to give access to people, not just to shoot you on stage, but also shoot you talking about comedy, working through material. Did you feel vulnerable?
It was hard because the hardest part of, I did the Old Man in the Pool special, which just came out. It was at Lincoln Center last year. And then once that's done, I don't have a new hour. I don't have a new act. So we go out and some of the stuff bombs and it feels bad. I mean, you stand up, Fred does stand up. It's like, when it doesn't go well, it's hard.
Yeah.
And so to give that access, Eddie Schmidt, who directed it, and Jesse Fox, who co-created it, and is hard because they can do anything. They can take footage. They can do a supercut of me eating French fries. You know what I mean? There's 50 hours of footage. You can make it anything, and then people are like, yeah, Mike and French fries. You know what I mean? And And so you have to put trust into the idea. But then it turned out wonderfully. This literally just happened last night. I was at the Comedy Cellar working on new material here in New York. And someone who's a fan of Good One, that just came out, I walked on stage and they go, "Good One!" Which is normally a heckle. Like, it's literally what you would say if someone sucks at comedy. Good One! And I was like, oh, you saw a Good One. All right. So there's some Good One heads
Although
out
it's funny
there.
because your podcast is called Working It Out, and if you told a joke and someone went, "Working it out," also
You're
a
right.
heckle.
That's right. Not there yet. Keep at it.
Old Man in the Pool, and I think all of your shows, your specials, have a real humanity to them and a way that people connect with them. And you were telling stories that are both unique to you, but also, I think, experienced by a lot of people. And I think that's why that's why they endure and they're really special. Old Man in the Pool is a really cool special. It's about you. It's about health issues. It's about getting older. Is it something that people approach you about a lot?
I really appreciate that people came out to it, that they watched it on Netflix. It's funny, I don't have, every now and then I'll end up in a conversation where someone will bring it up. Like, I was at like a movie recently and someone came up to me and they said, like, to their friend, like, "This is Mike Birbiglia." And the woman was a casting director. And she goes, "Oh, okay." And then she goes, "He's the star of The Old Man and the Pool on Broadway." And the casting director, who does this professionally, goes, "Oh, Mike Birbiglia, I thought you were big and fat." And I wouldn't recommend saying that socially as sort of an open-ended, where could this conversation go? Because it just sort of sat there. And I go, yeah, I guess. I don't know. I mean, apparently that's the file I'm in the casting office. I'm not in the looks like Bradley Cooper file.
Yeah.
Buddy.
You're going on the road. You're going to
Yes.
Oklahoma. You're going to Texas.
I'm going, one of the reasons I don't go to Texas and Oklahoma that often, there's just so much space. It's so hard to drive this long space. Like, one time I was driving from Houston to Weatherford, Oklahoma, which I'm not even sure is a town. Some of the places I visit are just an Applebee's with a dream. I'm driving, and I was running out of gas. And what's tricky about that is in Oklahoma, there's parts of the state that just there isn't anything. Like, there aren't molecules. You know what I mean? They're just like, we're nowhere in space and time. You know what I mean? But we have 2 senators, which is odd, by the way.
Yeah.
I do think that is an odd thing about Oklahoma. But I was running out of gas, and I was desperate. And I was like, oh, there's a town coming up. And it was as though God was playing a joke on me. The town was Corn. Corn, Oklahoma. And they don't have gas. Ethanol. They do have ethanol. And
Solid corn joke.
But I got to Weatherford. I did the show. It was like in this big gymnasium at a college, and it was wonderful. And I will say, like, we talk on The Good One. People ask us a lot, where's the best place to perform? Mm-hmm. Where's the worst place to perform? You probably get that like a lot.
I do, yes.
And I'm going to Oklahoma partly because they love comedy there.
Yeah.
And you find that in the cities where they really want you to show up. People have been asking me to come to Tulsa for a while, and I'm like, I'm going this time. And I'm super optimistic because when people love comedy, they generally have a great time at the shows.
Well, have a great weekend. It's lovely to see you here. Thank you for being
You too.
Mike Birbiglia. Good One, a show about jokes streaming on Peacock. We'll be right back with more